The Nigerian Bar Association section on Public Interest and Development Law, SPIDEL, led by Dr. Monday Ubani, has conveyed themselves to discuss the social economic right in ensuring that those concerned do what is right as demanded in the Constitution, with the theme Justiciability of Chapter 2 of 1999 Constitution, Pragmatic Measures for Government Accountability. The town hall meeting had in attendance Chairman Honorable Justice Alia Ogunwumiju, Justice of the Supreme Court, Chief Host Nigerian Bar Association, President Olumide Akpata, Host Chairman Nigerian Bar Association, SPIDEL, Dr. Monday Ubani, the lead speaker, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, Chief Judge of Abia State, Honorable Justice Onoa Ogwe, Head, Democracy and Good Governance, ECOWAS Commission, Abuja, Emmanuel Okorodudu, and many more to mention but a few. Thus, the crux had panelist discussion where legal practitioners were asked to hear their views on the enforcement and the provisions of Chapter 2, which deals with the fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policies, socio-economic rights of the citizens. Speaking at the town hall meeting, the president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Olumide Akpata, had his view on the chapter of the Constitution alongside Justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Alia Ogunwumiju.
How have the governments at all levels fared in the fulfillment of their promises of the past and in the enforcement of the social contract with the Nigerian people? It is a well-known fact that we have an entire chapter in the 1999 Constitution dedicated to the provision of socio-economic rights. We call it the Fundamental Objectives and Directive Principles of State Policy. That chapter provides in no unclear terms that it shall be the duty and responsibility of all organs of government and of all authorities and persons exercising legislative, executive, or judicial powers to conform to, observe, and apply the provisions of this chapter of the Constitution. How have we fared?
The Justiciability of Chapter 2 of the 1999 Constitution has altered. As the President said, we all know that by sections 13 to 24 of the 1999 Constitution, these provisions, I don't want to elevate them to say they are rights, because when you say they are rights, they are mandatory. The way the Constitution has put it as obligations of government and not mandatory provisions of government. So, and the same Constitution that says the government is obliged to provide these things says they are not justiciable. That is Section 6C of the same constitutions.
The 1999 Constitution under Chapter 2, with the heading Fundamental Objectives and Directive Principle of State Policy, made elaborate provision for those things that make life worth living: education, health, employment, security, and welfare of the citizens. These, no doubt, should be the focus and form the fulcrum for every government. As fundamental as these socio-economic rights as provided in the Constitution appear on the face value, the same Constitution divests the courts of its enforcement. Typical of every government in this part of the world, they shrink from their natural responsibilities.
Under the 1999 Constitution, it is noted that socio-economic rights are different from the fundamental human rights which are contained in Chapter 4 of the same Constitution. As it is said and believed, fundamental human rights are justiciable, enforceable in courts, but the socio-economic rights are unenforceable. Chapter 2 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria contains Section 13 to 24, which deals essentially on the obligations on the office of the government, so the office of the citizen. That is what the citizens expect the government to do for him as benefits. Speaking further, the lead speaker, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falano had his view on this.
What the Supreme Court has done here is to say, in the case of AG Ondo and AG of the Federation, that chapter 2 years, not justiciable, but there are laws made pursuant to chapter 2. Those laws can be enforced in our courts. Of course, Section 13 has imposed a duty on all authorities and persons exercising judicial, executive, and legislative powers to enforce chapter 2. Registered political parties are compelled by Section 224 of the Constitution to adopt chapter 2 as part of the aims and objectives of the party. They will be registered along with the constitutions of the parties. Furthermore, when elected officials are taking their oath of office, oath of allegiance, they undertake that we are going to preserve and enforce chapter 2 of the Constitution.
The pragmatic way to go is to make sure that our elected representatives, our elected executives are made to abide by their oath of office. They are made to abide by the Constitution, because the Constitution says that every organ of government, everybody is supposed to apply chapter 2 in governance. And that is the so-called dividends of democracy. So if people don't realize the dividends from chapter 2, they have no takeaway. There's nothing there for them. And of course, like you said, if there are judgments and people don't reap the fruits of this judgment, it makes nonsense of chapter 2. So what we have to do is to start holding our elected representatives responsible. If a judgment is given and there is any official of government who has a duty to implement that and he doesn't do that, they will have a duty to sue that person.
When you recognize that these are rights and you make a law, you put it in the ground norm that these are rights, but because of resource challenges, you cannot make them justiciable. It is now the duty of the judiciary to rule in ways that will pressure the government, not just to neglect it because it is said it's not justiciable, but to act responsibly in accounting to ensuring that those conditions are met.
Section 13 of the Constitution provides inter alia, that is, it shall be the duty and responsibility of all organs of government to confirm to, observe and apply the provisions of this chapter of the Constitution. As Section 14 notes that as the Constitution vested sovereignty on the people and that the government will derive its powers from the people.